Hi there, I'm Allie Elliott.
I just realized you couldn't hear me. Hi, welcome back. I'm Allie Elliott, and welcome back to some more competition image editing. Get used to that. It's what it's going to be for the next couple of weeks while I start to get my cases in order for the ASP competition that comes up first, and then district competition for PPA. So we are back with this very familiar kitty picture, and I went back into the studio with my models and bribed them a little further. And we've got some more to work with. You can see down here at the bottom, I got some very important differences here. The first thing we're going to do is remove the braid and replace it with her hair down. You can see this little light spill, which is beautiful on her face, but because the cat wasn't there, it's giving this optical illusion that there's a light coming from the cat, or I don't know, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. So we're going to take that out, and we're going to reconfigure Kitty's feet and use this one where Kitty does not look real happy. But she was, I promise. We had just come from the vet, so she probably wasn't real happy with me at that moment. But let's get started, and then we can get to the fun part, which are the finishing touches. So I'm going to go in and open up some of these that I've already pulled up. I shot a couple hundred, so as when you're working with animals and children, you just don't really know what is going to connect with the camera, with the viewer. So, um, so what I'm going to pull from this one is a lot of this fur. Her hair was messed up, but I like that realness of it. And then I'm going to use this with her hair. The paws are a little more controlled lighting, so I definitely want to use that. Let's see, that was 1509. And then I'm going to pull the tail from 1508. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a few of these open just so we don't have to keep going back in. So if you're new to Photoshop, so that was 1509. I'm going to select 1508 and I'm going to hold on Control because I am PC and not Mac. And I'm going to see what other images we need to pull. Maybe face and whiskers there. I don't know. There's a lot of nice texture in that one that I might want to pull out. So we'll go ahead and open that up just to see what we need from it. And then I'm going to use her hair and neck and the more subtle highlight there. So that's 1542. And I love Kitty's face there. You know what? 19, what was that? 1519. And then, did I already grab 1499? Because I see now I want the kitty's face. I did. Um, uh, okay. 1499. I want Kitty's face shape out of one of them and her actual eyes and nose and stuff out of a different one. So we'll pull them both up. I can't remember my numbers today. I'm very tired. And it's going to be negative 17 for a low tonight. So hopefully, wherever you're watching from, it is warmer. I don't mind the cold as long as I don't have to go anywhere. Okay, 49. I've got that one in there twice. 08, 09, and 19. So we'll get 15, 19. That's going to be Kitty's face. And then I think we'll have everything that we need right now, nice and open. Oh, and I already had that. All right, so here's where we're at so far. And I can tell you that some of this stuff is going to go. Some of the stuff that I wasn't real happy with, we reshot it. The braid is going to go for sure. I'll go ahead and erase back some of that. For a chunk of that might stay right now just because I'm not sure that we have a more full shot that we want. So right now we'll just leave it because we've got that nice fuzzy outline. This is definitely going to go. Torso is going to stay. That front paw is going to go because we've got a better one. And then, poor kitty, part of her head will stay. So, just to kind of see where we're at as far as sizing goes. I know that we won't keep all of this, but I'm going to keep just that little tip of her nose in there for purposes to, first thing I'm going to do is bring this way up to the front so I can see what's going on with the whole thing. Just for sake of sizing her correctly. And you can see her sizing is going to be a little off because we're just trying to make her fit just right. And then I'm gonna make her a little bit smaller. Where is that? There we go. So I know we're not going to use that tail sticking up like that, but this at least gives us a starting point for Kitty's new look. So I'm going to erase back these hard edges. I need a little bit of a bigger eraser. And then we're going to go in and grab, got all kinds of weirdness happening right now. So I'm going to start with, oh, I probably should have grabbed her hair actually, but we'll find, I know I've got one with just her, here it is, that we want to grab a hold of this whole section because I want to make it nice and cohesive. So we're a little bit small here, so I want to size it up evenly. And match up that little highlight on her face. All right, so what I'm going to do is duplicate, which you will see me do a lot, so I can go back in. If I erase too much, then I can go back in and correct it relatively easily. So this is just going to all get erased back a little bit. and we're a little bit bright. I might have had her just a tiny bit closer to the light, who knows. Let's see, and where is, there we go. Okay, so sure I've got some bits left. And what I want to do right now is grab the warp tool and just kind of pull that out of her eye. So I don't want to affect the face part though. So I want to make sure and pull that back, pull that chin back so that she's nice and symmetrical as she appears in real life, and erase that off of her face. And then we've got just enough of a highlight there that that could be reflected from Kitty. All right, so I'm going to erase back a lot of, not really erase back, but I want to take out what we were already working on so that I'm not getting, it's not getting muddied. So first of all, we've got her hair, and that's just a little, there we go, just a little off. And I'm going to zoom in and see what's happening here. I think we've got a good fit for right now. Okay, that's my backup. So we've got the edge of her hair that's gonna show. It actually it looks really cute with the little braid peeking through, but Kitty's gonna be there anyway. So we've got the start of Kitty. Let's see where we pulled that from. There's her tail. We're gonna grab that tail here in a minute. And there's that face. I thought I had one. Let's see. Let me get back in here because I thought I had one. Yeah, like that. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. But I definitely like the placement. I'm not sure what. Let me just start over here and make sure. Try and decide where I want Kitty's head to end up. So let's add here. Just kind of for sizing purposes. Because we'll have to take that hand out. That might just be enough to start getting our proportions lined up correctly. And that's one of the things about competition that was kind of a learning curve for me, because I keep working on it until it takes me a long time to admit when something needs to be reshot. And that's one thing that I've gotten better about through the years is just knowing when it's time to call it, and you know that I can do better than what I already have made available to myself. And it's hard. The laziness in me wants to just say, you know what, that's good enough. But then when you're watching judging or waiting for your image and it comes up and you know you could do better, it doesn't take very long. I mean, you only get one shot a year at this. I guess technically two, for these competitions in particular, because, and I talk about the PPA competitions more than others because they have managed, there's always going to be a layer of subjectivity to photography competition, but they have managed to lay the technical guidelines out as clearly as I think it's even possible for an art competition. It lays the 12 elements are laid out for us very clearly, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, take a minute if you're interested in competition and go to Professional Photographers of America website and look at the 12 elements of a merit image. And it's really interesting to see it just laid out like that. And maybe I can do I don't know what these are, a video or whatever on it at some point to help people who are new, because it is daunting. And there are some people that come out swinging their very first year. And I spoke to a gentleman at Imaging this year who in his very first year went diamond, which is going 4 images out of your case. Out of all 4 of them earn a merit, and all 4 of them get into the imaging excellence category, which is crazy. Hello. I just saw the chat. I didn't hear it. Sorry. I don't know when it came by. But anyway, he went diamond on his very first year, which is absolutely, I've never gone diamond, and I've been at this for a while now. So it's kind of like, where do you go from there? I guess like you're just, okay, check that off your list because that's been conquered. All right, so already I like this better than I liked the last one, and I just continually save over and over and over. And I'm gonna see where this something is leaving some little clone marks back there. There, it's that one. Just want to clean that up when I see it so I don't have to go back and look for it later. All right, so Kitty's already, although looking irritated, looking better than she was last time. I like her hand placement. I definitely want to get rid of this little light block here because that's going to draw some attention. So I'm going to copy that again so that I can go back and grab from it if I need to. And we're going to zoom in there and just select, no, not quite that much. So I'm just gonna select a similar color to the fur, and then deselect so I can like blend it a little bit and not make it real obvious. And then I'm gonna grab from where her fur is blending beautifully, or her hair and her fur, so both of them are blending nicely, and just kind of make it not something that grabs attention, because I don't want that little light patch to garner any of the attention that we want on our 2 main subjects. I'm going to go ahead and grab the tail around all that lovely sensor dust. And do we want the tail? I don't know. I'm going to leave it a separate layer right now because I'm not sure I do actually. I think I'll just take that out for now, because you can see her tail folded here, and I don't like that shape that it's creating. It's kind of a jagged, unbecoming shape. All right. She's looking a little crazy-eyed there. I don't remember what I was, maybe the paws, her nice little paws. But I like this look a lot more. And in fact, now this little light section is garnering more attention than it should. So we'll just go in here and do the same thing. Clean that up a little bit. Just make it nice and subtle. Okay. So we got what we needed there. Probably not going to use that. I don't even know what I was considering there. Do we have a bell? Oh, you know what? We might need this chunk of kitty there, but let's wait and see what face we're going to use. I think that one. We're probably done with that. I like this face. It's nice and she's a nice kitty there. We're new to being cat people. It is a learning curve. And I'm definitely going to give her, that's looking bright. I'm going to save this, but I think I'm going to go back in here and see. We had a nice kitty portrait at some point here. Ooh, very regal. We had a nice kitty portrait in here somewhere. That's not it. What do we think? Is anybody in there? Tell me what you think. Look, kitty looking off into the distance. Or right at the camera. I don't know. I didn't see anything that really spoke to me. Do we have, that might just, it might just be this, we've got all these pulled up, and there's a little sneak preview of some of the other stuff I'm going to work on. That might be the one we used already. I don't like the ears. I don't like the ears in the one kind of asymmetrical. I would rather have them symmetrical or something similar. So we'll see what this looks like. We're gonna have to do something about right there for sure. And actually her bell just kind of disappears there. I think I'm okay with that. So we'll just kind of see now. And her whiskers kind of disappear. So I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I'm not in love with it quite yet. So let's see. Kind of zoom in there, make sure everything's matched up beautifully. And if you're watching and you see something that just doesn't quite add up, tell me, because I might not be seeing it with the same perspective. I feel like I'm squinting a lot today. Okay, so already I like it better than I liked it from where we left last time. We're definitely going to have to, if I don't have her whiskers over the fur right there, that's something that I think we'll probably have to reshoot, because those two textures are just too fine, those little minute details that I don't want to spend. It would be quicker to put my daughter and my cat in the car, drive across town to my studio and completely reshoot that than it would be. So there's a little bit of what we need. They're so cute. Okay, that's a little bit. So that might not be a total reshoot. We'll see here. she was done. Oh, that's a nice kitty face. Is this better than the one that we have? Maybe. It's not. I tell you what, we're gonna have to watch what's happening here, because this one is it's a nice expression, but it's against here, so all these little textures would have to be cut out, which I can do, but this is for photographic open, so it's not there's some whiskers. We might just pull that and see how we look. 1526. So this one is being measured for the photographic qualities and not for the post-production work. So you don't win anything. You're not a hero for doing more. In fact, my very first loan image, I did almost nothing to it, and it's one of those things where you like psych yourself out because you consider all the time that you spent doing other things to your images in the past years, and then the one that you barely had to touch does really well, and you kind of question the way you are going about it. So that is not great quality there for sure. Let's see what we got. Nope, it's just not quite sharp enough. So we're done with that one. I'm gonna leave that in case we want to pull a tail. That's got a little bit of an option for us because it's got this texture of the whiskers and the hair, but it just doesn't have quite enough. That's another tail that I think we'll probably leave. And we tried that, no cigar, and we'll leave that for reference. I don't know, pets are a different animal. Hello, Calroo. Pets are a different animal, pun completely intended, because of all of the textures. So you got the texture of the whiskers, the texture of the fur, the different shape of the eye, and all that stuff has to be considered the same way we consider portraiture on people. But it's just it's a different element. So what I'm looking for now is this connection. So basically the neck and upper torso of the cat that would be in the shadows, because as you can see, there's a stark difference in the lighting, and I did have a kicker light camera left back behind the subject, but because of the dark fur, it's really not catching it at all. You can kind of see it in there, but just by looking at the image, you would never know that. I also want to get in there and make sure I find a little corner of her ear. There it is. She's so cute. 1548, that's got a little corner of her ear. So I'll just go ahead and do that before I move on, because I think that we aren't going to have a perfect match for the kitty's neck. So we're going to have to do a little magic. So I'm going to take this whole section. Oops, wrong way. Because I would rather add it back than add it back in, or I would rather erase it back than have to add it back in. So we'll darken that a little bit, just make it match up. And then I want to make sure and keep my lines. You can see I'm matching her chin right now. So that is a good fit. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and erase down. And I want to go in line with her hairline. Oh, perfect. And just those little details, like a little bit of her ear showing, really matters to the judges. And those little details that add to the story, or at the very least, don't take away from the story. So I'm going to save again because I can't help myself. And now we've got to find a neck for a cat. And this is going to be difficult. The cat's whiskers are going to be an issue. Maybe not too bad, because right here it's still over fur, but you can see his hand kind of creeping in there. So I'm just going to take the tails out because I don't think we're going to need that. Is this the one we are going to use? Probably. We'll go ahead and try this because there's a good, this is dark enough that we can blend it. Now we can take the agitated cat ear out. So here we go, and we'll just go kind of close. And I'll just grab that whole thing. So we can't use the collar or any of that because we can't use the nose because it's just a different orientation. So we'll take that down. But that little patch is way too bright anyway. So let me just make sure that I didn't leave any little tracings. So if I can get that down really closely, then we can come in here and grab some of the fur texture and make that work. And I don't think I want to keep the bell. I thought I might try. So that's a little too stark. So what I'm going to do now is darken this to let it match the gradient fade of the shadows a little bit more. And this might just end up being a lot more patching, which is not a big deal. But let's see how those whiskers are doing when they're... I'm going to warp a little bit. So that they just make a little bit more sense. So when we come down to the final touches, I'll go in here and really clean up these kind of clone marks and missing, you kind of see like a ghost of whiskers. But that's not something I'm going to worry about right now. That'll be a finishing touch. And right before we get to the point where we're preparing this for presentation, I'll go in and clean that stuff up. When it's a flattened image, it's a lot quicker. So I can flatten, duplicate, clean it up, and then erase back whatever I need to. Right now, the big concern are the whiskers. And I wish I had noticed when I was shooting that the whiskers were all smushed up there. But like when you're photographing a cat and a kid, not necessarily those details aren't the first thing on your mind. That happens, no big deal. Okay. So what I'm looking for now is this camera left side, like right there. Kitty's head. This is, the ear is agitated. That doesn't have it, but I want to have it up against our background so that I can hang on to that nice texture. So let's see. We might go back into the original shoot too. There we go. That might work. 1320. So let's pull that up. See what we can do. All right. So regal. Oh no. You know what? If we're getting, do we like the ears up like that though? These are nice and crisp. So let's just see if this is better, because I like the nice crispy fur in this shot. It's like a kitty helmet. Let's see here. I think I do. I think I do like the crispness in the ears. I don't know. That looks, I don't know. Her head looks weird shaped. Nope. Okay. We'll just leave it. To a vote. Now that I've been looking at it like that, it looks weird to have it any other way. See, this is how I end up spending a lot of my time prepping for competition, is just messing with stuff that ends up being completely not a factor whatsoever. But I get distracted and play around a little bit. But that's also kind of what makes it fun, is just getting to play around a little bit and see what I like and what works and what doesn't work. And then other times it's really frustrating. I don't know, it's got like a weird... Nope, what? Why did I do that? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing now. Now I can't decide. I need other opinions. Let's look at it real close. Maybe it makes more sense. I've got some other tips for when you are coming into the home stretch for your images. I've got a couple of different things that I do to, no, I like that. I like that better. Even if it's less crisp, I like that better. So some of the things I do when I've got an image done, or when I feel like it might be close to done, one thing is to print it, and I've got a nice printer at home, a nice image printer, and I'll just print it and then step back from it. Because looking at it on a computer screen, no matter how calibrated you are, all that good stuff, it's not going to be the same. So print it out and tape it to the wall and step back from it, get close to it. And another thing that a lot of people miss is to turn it upside down. And when you turn something upside down to back up to look at it, it will offer perspective shifts and I'm drawing a blank. It'll offer proportional shifts, perspective shifts, and just something that seems a little off will really jump out at you when it's upside down. So those are the two things that are kind of unconventional that I like to do when I am in the nitty-gritty part of competition, that you might not, it's a little different than the usual, you know, send it to your friend and get their opinion on it. So we are back to looking for Kitty's neck. I just spent a fair amount of time wasted doing the ear thing. And now we are back to looking for this little place. So this is going to be difficult because of her whiskers. And then we had a hand in there too. Let's see. that's not it. We're not going to use that one. We could almost use that one because there is a little bit of a transition before the hand, but kitty looking crazy. Okay. Oh, was that? Nope. Okay, so what I'd really like to find is just that neck area of the kitty right on, ooh, this one might work, right on the, it's got no whiskers, but, all right, 1337, help me remember that. That might be it. 1337. Wait. 1337 and 1353. Let's open those up. Okay, 1337 and 53. So I'm going to start with this one because it's got, I'm afraid this white fur is going to grab far more light than I want. And I don't want to give up those whiskers. I want to hold on to that nice texture. And we'll definitely have to play with the light because this is not going to grab the same kind of light that the other picture would. But this might just be a nice little compromise. Nice little visual compromise. Okay, so I've got to bring that bright white down. And I've got to bring my contrast down because that's not going to work. But, okay, so see the dark background behind the fur is kind of haloing. But that will balance it out really nicely. And then I'm going to take that. Let's see, I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. No, it's gathering too much light with that white patch of fur. But I'm not gonna do away with it completely. I'm gonna take that out. And then we'll do one more little light play, and then I'm gonna work on getting some of that texture back. Okay, so what I am gonna do is get all the kitty pieces merged together. So I can do little things like clean up those clone marks and stuff. There was something in here. There we go. So this is her ear that I want to leave out. That's kitty part. That's a kitty part. That's a kitty part. That is not. So I'm going to take all of this stuff and merge those. And this is where I will start. Right now I'm saving it as progress. So this would start off as progress 1 because I am paranoid about losing my work. Okay, so now we've got so we've got the ear over here, the hair over here. I do want to clean this up just a little bit. And I will have you know that Kitty absolutely, completely destroyed that sweater. So we owe, that's her sister's sweater, and we owe her now. Okay, so now that I've gotten that cleaned up, and I'm gonna zoom in and make sure that the top of that is right where I want it. So I'm gonna take a little bitty eraser and just run down this line of her face and make sure she still has a nice, there we go. All right, so there's one, there's two, and then so we are going to merge those. So now we've got her, we've got Kitty. Now I'm going to make a duplicate of her and a duplicate of Kitty. So this is now going to be progress 2, so that if I need to go back into something that was there before I flattened and not after, I have that option. All right. So here we are, and this is just kind of the base of our image. One thing that I can tell you right now is I'm probably going to end up flipping it. My studio is set up so that my lights are camera left. But as I mentioned before, and we'll mention again, we read left to right. Even when we're not reading words, our brains are trained left to right. So right now, our brains are going to read into the fluffy fur. I'm going to switch that and have them read into their faces and have their light. Now, when you do that, you can see that I've got a whole lot of brightness back here, and I'm going to take this down a lot because right now the background is far too bright for my liking. And it takes us a minute to adjust to this new view because that's how it's shot and that's what we've been staring at. But we will, I promise you, we will adjust. All right, let me get this out of the way here. And now we are going back to the kitty neck, and this is kind of one of those things I'll end up getting. So I'm going to hide one of each so that we don't have any ghosting or any any haloing or anything like that. I need some light kitty fur against that backdrop. And you know what? I'm going to grab, this might just be exactly what we need. Right here. And now, since everything is flipped, it's a little more difficult. There we go. That might just be exactly what we need, though. Good job, kitty. Because it's got the fur, it's got the right colors. I like it. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of warping here. I tend to warp a lot, but I try not to adjust the pixels more than necessary because you're adjusting the resolution basically when you are finessing those pixels. So you really don't want to overdo it, but sometimes it's just, there's no way around it. It's just necessary. And I want to make sure and get those long, luxurious whiskers. And then I'm going to, so we've got a nice little transition between the light and the dark fur, offering that pretty texture. I'm gonna get a bigger eraser and then take my opacity way down and just offer on this section. You know what? I'm going to take that back actually, and I'm going to burn just a touch. You have to be careful when burning a lot because it'll gray out your colors. But, oh, that's not even what I was messing with. But since this is essentially a black and white area, it's not a concern. I'll go ahead and merge those together. And I think we're getting to a place where we can get to the fun stuff. First of all, I have 2 viewers right now. Help me come up with a title because I've got nothing right now. Nothing clever, cute. I don't want it to be contrived. And I need to play with my crop a little bit because right now we're not rules of third. If you're familiar with rules of third, if you chop your image, I shoot a lot in rules of third. So if you chop your image into 3, that you would be right on the line your subject would be. And if it is on the back third, it is the most pleasing aesthetically because it is not at a tension point. You're going left to right and you're stopping at a pleasing place before you're dangling off the edge of the page, before you're abruptly stopped. And I'll pull up real quick an example for rules of third. I can go into my competition folder because the vast majority of ones that I have merited are rule of third. Here is an example of rules of third that I should have flipped and I didn't, and this has bothered me now for 3 years. Because if I had flipped this entire image, she would be looking up this way, the light would be leading left to right, and it just would have been more aesthetically pleasing. This did enough to get a merit anyway, but that has always bothered me because I know it could be better. My very first, here's a good example of rule of thirds. So you take this image, just this gray box, and split it, chop it into 3 pieces. Here's a chunk, here's a chunk, and here's a chunk. Right on this second line, so here's one line and here's one line, is my subject. So that is where your mind, your brain, your eyes automatically go. That's one option. Another option is center. Very familiar face right there. Is a center composition. And this is another one I should have flipped. I'll do that to myself forever. Center composition, obviously, right. So from diagonally, you make an X across the page, she's going to fall right in the center. You make a T across the page, she's going to fall in the center. This is a popular composition with circular layout, square layout. Here is another that you'll see a lot of. This is actually rule of thirds, and this is, she is at a tension point, but I wanted you to get to her first and not get stuck in this. So this was actually an intentional tension point because I wanted you to stop at her face and at her S curve rather than getting lost in the tangles of light. So when I'm looking at this one, I don't have a strong composition for it yet. I think right now maybe this might be our best because then we've got her face engulfed in the center point, and then Kitty is right on the edge, almost a rules of third. So just bring that in, put Kitty's eye right on the third. I don't like, with kids, oftentimes you will hear to give them room to grow. So we'll go with that one for right now. And then I'm going to save this as progress 3 because I'm not fully committed to this crop. And we'll have to see where that goes. Presenting, so creating the mat, the digital frame for competition images, it was a big learning curve, and I feel like that's a weak link for me. I'm not very good at it. It's a lot of trial and error, but I'm getting there. So if you have any tips, you just let me know. And still right now, what's bothering me most are those whiskers, but they are not bad. This is something that I'm gonna have to address. The whiskers smushed against the hair. I may end up being something where I'm drawing them in. And if I'm looking at the light play on here, they're very light near Kitty's face, and then they fade out. So I think that is something that I could draw in with my stylus relatively easily. Would have been easier if I would have just shot it correctly, but I didn't. So here we are. Okay, so I think what we'll do now, all right, so I'm going to delete this one and then duplicate this one. Did I do the right one? Okay, I did the right one. And then hide that again and save it. And once you get a title, it's a lot easier to drive the narrative for the picture. So I think that's sometimes why I heavily prefer to have a title first. My very first master artist image that went lone is this one. And I had the vision, I sketched it out, completed it. It was basically complete when I finally came up with the title Numbered Days. I went through a long list of titles that they just didn't feel right, and I finally got that. So help me brainstorm here. I don't even have anything remotely on the table for this one, but I'm really antsy to be able to flatten it and get moving on I don't know why I'm saving those. I don't need that. Okay. Give me some title ideas. Watching this on YouTube, here in chat, wherever you are, email me, whatever. Get me some ideas here, and then that can maybe help tuck some Easter eggs or something in here that need to be addressed. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flatten it. We are at that point. And now this is where you see I start saving duplicates that are minutely different. And if I'm being honest with you, very rarely do I go in and go back to something. But there is a rare occasion where that happens. And if I were to need it, I'm glad to know that there's an option. Okay, so here's where I'm just going to clean up these ghosts of, so I'm just using my clone to kind of take away the shadowing of the whiskers from whatever that is, where I didn't get it erased back, or who knows. We'll go back one more. And this is a delicate exercise because you want to keep the texture of the fur. Without grabbing any attention. You want these whiskers to be highlighted without being a subject matter, without being something that draws the viewer's attention. So it has to be nice and subtle, but still with like that little And this is one of those things that it's better to do this earlier. Don't be like me and procrastinate. I don't usually, I do. Every year I say I'm going to get it done sooner and I don't. But that's going to be too dark. Shoo. Get it right in camera. I forget what I was talking about. I got distracted by the whiskers and my light's bright today. But anyway, it's starting to come together. And then I've got some really nice, I can't wait to get in there and highlight. All right, so I'm going to duplicate that layer now and save, because we are at the coloring phase. So I'm actually going to duplicate again and bring my background way down, because we don't want a background competing with our subject. So I'll take a nice big eraser at 100% opacity. And just erase back, especially on their faces. And the highlights of her hair. Now I'll go down to 75 and do the second most important. And then we'll go down a little further. And then I'll erase, see if, now since that shadow is naturally there, I want to leave it. And I want more of a highlight on this side of Kitty. All right, and then I'm going to take I'm going to duplicate that, hold one back, and then get a huge, much bigger than, no, not that big. And I want to give just a slight kind of light beam to them. And I want to get rid of that. So now I'm going to flatten, duplicate, and save as progress. Here we are already on progress number 5. Okay, so now we're going to start with coloring, and I'm going to nudge it. I'm colorblind, so I'm not going to go over the top. I just want a nice pink undertone with a little touch. That might be a little. I know that I'm red-green colorblind, so it needs to look very yellow to me. And then I'll grab my so I've got nice skin tone range here. Beautiful. Okay, I like where we're at right now. I'm gonna duplicate and I'm gonna go in here with my stylus. So I have a, I don't know how you say it because I always read it, Wacom, W-A-C-O-M, that's probably not how you say it, but whatever. That is the tablet that I'm using here for drawing, and the first thing that I want to do here, just because I just now saw it, is get rid of this stray hair, and I want to adjust my source point occasionally so I don't get track lines. to where it's duplicating a patch. I just want, that's too much. And see, I've got a little hair through her eyebrow, and we'll just clean that up. And that way, when I go through highlighting and burning and dodging, I don't have to have any concern about these little stray hairs and things being a subtle disturbance. It's a lot easier to clean up right now. Now I'm going to back up a little bit and get rid of these, the smaller, these little stray hairs here. The smaller that your cursor is, or the smaller that your brush is, the easier it is for the viewer to see those lines. All right. So she's got a little eczema here on her neck, and I'm just going to clean that up. Quiet. It's kind of a quiet day today. Okay, so I just want to clean up those little eczema marks on there for her. And I've got a little bit of noise created in there. That's okay. We can address that. And there's another little stray hair. You can also, if you don't want to clone, you can also get the blend. It's not the blend tool. What is that tool called? Where it's grabbing content near your pixels and let me see, what is it called? Maybe I don't know the name of it. I don't use it very often. Apparently not, because I don't know where it is. But it just grabs information from the pixels surrounding you, and is it? It's not magic select. I don't know. Apparently, it's not that important. Spot healing. That's what it is. So you can, like, if I wanted to get rid of this, that's a really hard one. So soften it. Like if I wanted to get rid of this freckle, boom, gets rid of the freckle. But I don't. I want to keep the freckle. That is all right. So now we've got her little flyaways and everything all cleaned up. And I'm gonna start by darkening her freckles because, like I mentioned the other day, the the strobe really washes out freckles and some of those little unique characteristics. So I go in here and individually, there are freckle brushes. You know, there are different ways that you can do this, but I prefer it to just be as authentic as possible and highlight all these gorgeous little freckles. And you can see where the strobe is hitting the camera left side of her face. You can really see where it washes them out. So you gotta work on double time. And right here you can see it's draining the color. So we'll have to address that too. And all those fine details are very often, in my experience, the difference between a merit and a non-merit. And you know, as we're doing work for our client, I talk a lot about competition because it is a higher degree that you're a higher standard that you're being held to. You know, when we're presenting our clients images, they're looking at their baby, they're looking at their family, the people that they love. They aren't gonna nitpick generally, but that doesn't lower the standard that I've set for myself, because I tell myself, whether it's true or not, that these are the images that they're going to have on their walls for generations, that their children, grandchildren, you know, 4 or 5 generations down the road, this is how their family will know them. And I don't lower my standards because they won't see the differences that I see. So there's before and there's after, and you can see her beautiful little freckles that we want to hold on to. So we've got some blown out spots in Miss Kitty that we want to address. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to duplicate. And I'm going to save. All right, so I get very antsy to just go ahead and do the fun stuff. So I'm going to do it a little bit. So I'm going to zoom in here to her eyes. And she has very light, gorgeous eyes that are easy to overwork if you let yourself do that. So I've got to be really careful not to do that. There's already like a fair amount of highlight in there. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. What I am going to do is take out this extra, oh gosh, what's happening here? 3 maybe? We need something tiny, but maybe 5. Take out this extra highlight. Because we want those catch lights to get all the attention in there. And then I'm afraid that I went too far in there. Nope, don't like that. There we go. Nope, still don't like that. Okay, so we'll go a little bit bigger. We'll go 7, and that is still a very tiny. So bring some of that light back in there. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. So we don't want these little highlights showing up. And I want to take this highlight out, whoops, of lower in her eye. Why? Come on now. Because I don't want her to look teary-eyed. She's got her kitty, she's happy. We're going to show it off. All right, so I'm going to burn just a little bit. Where's my burn? Just right here. All right, and then I'm going to take this down to a 7. That's actually still kind of big. Let's take it down to a 5. These are like tiny brushes. But I want to show some of this detail in her eye. I'm going to go smaller than that even. I think I'll go to a 3. And it just gives that, it just really highlights those unique characteristics. And she has such beautiful light eyes. I want to show those colors off. I don't know where she got her blue eyes. Not that blue anyway. My mom had blue eyes, but they were like a darker blue. My other daughter has those. So I'm going into these, her eyelashes, you can kind of tell, are like mine where they turn blonde, so they become kind of hard to see. And then the strobe, of course, takes out anything that's left. So I just like to go in and make those pop a little bit more. Just kind of almost like sketching. My background is in fine arts. I could draw before I could photograph. And then even down here with her nose, went offline a little bit there, but even down here with her nose, just giving that shadow. I keep going offline there. Just giving that the slightest touch, like you would with a drawing. And now you're gonna hear my neighbor's truck start up. We got new neighbors, and I don't know them, but I know when they leave because their truck is very loud. Okay, and just kind of, all I'm doing here is just making that crisp. And I'm, there they go. Hopefully that's not showing up too bad on sound. All right. So in the shadows, it's not as big a deal. In fact, I'll give this a little touch, but I'm going to go in here with the Dodge and just lighten that up a little bit because I want to get that, no, that's too much. I want to get that curve of the eye. Let me finish up my burning. I've got a little light highlight there. Now since she's young, I can do these lines right here, and it just gives her a little more depth to her face. Obviously, with someone with a little more age under their belt, I would not do that. I'm going to do that over here too. It looks like maybe I already did. Gonna switch now to dodging with a little bit of a bigger brush and just go through some of these camera left where the light's coming from, and just make sure that her eyes have that depth that really pop and make the viewer continue looking. That's a little much. Gave her like eyeshadow there. She doesn't need it yet. Okay, so now I'm gonna back up because I tend to get a little excitable. And I'm gonna go bigger brush. And is he back again? Did he not leave? I don't know. Just enough of a little highlight to grab attention. I just absolutely love this this effect. It really gives that depth like no other. I learned dodging and burning in the Lightroom, and it was so fun to play with. And I go a little bit bigger for her chin. And then way bigger for her cheeks, but also more subtle, because I don't want to undo that work that I did on her freckles. So now we'll go up and I'll just barely do anything on the hair because it's so light already that doing too much to it's going to wash it out. Now here's Kitty, gets the same treatment. And her name is Zuzu Bailey. So let's see if you know that movie. Okay, and I am not well versed in pet retouching. Now I've done my fair share. In fact, I'll show you one of my favorites right now. Give my hand a break. This is one of my favorites from last year. And it's, as you can see, called Baby Bacon, Baby Bacon, Baby Bacon. And it is composite. I did not balance a baby on this dog, but this dog was 9 months old and very much acted like a puppy. All right, so we're back to Miss Kitty. And I'm gonna just burn some of these almost like veins in marble. I'm just gonna give that texture to her eye, just bring that out a little bit. And then I'll definitely get some feedback from seasoned pet photographers and see what their thoughts are on what I need to adjust here. Because I know there are, you know, catch lights are different in animals than they are in people, and I just want to make sure that I don't do something that would otherwise. Now, this is definitely an area we need to address because those that bright, it's almost blown. So one quick way to check is to get to your levels and go all the way to the side. So I don't have anything showing up, no colors showing up, and no colors showing up. So I'm good. Nothing's blown, nothing's clipped. You can check for your blacks to be clipped and your whites to be blown. That way it's just kind of a cheat. This is definitely something I need though, because you can see that I've lost that texture, I've lost the detail. But you can also see when you get to the fun part the difference that that makes. And I'm going to duplicate once again. And oh yeah, I was gonna grab a bigger brush here and just give her neck a little bit of a highlight, and then a nice big, there we go. And I love this little bounce highlight on her cheek. I think we've got a really good start. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just kind of walk away from it for the night and not look at it again, so that when I come back to it tomorrow, I can see the areas that I need to work on most. And I know that Kitty is going to need a fair amount of work. So that's going to be, see, this one might actually have more, if I can find, if I still have that open, that might have more detail in it. And just in the process of reworking it, I've lost it. So I think we'll go into that tomorrow a little bit. I feel like if I continue working on it right now, I'll kind of muddy the waters, and I don't want to do that. And I used to do that with paintings a lot. Lesson learned, because you can't just go back to progress 4 with the painting. You just get irritated and throw it out, or gesso over it and start from scratch. Thank you for coming along with me today and working on Kitty. Give me some of those title suggestions. Just something, even if it seems crazy, just something to get the ball rolling and get me thinking in the right direction, because right now I got nothing. So any help is appreciated. Please, please, please subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch. Subscribe to me on Twitch. And let me know your feedback on my competition image and what kind of content you'd like to see going forward. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.
That's why I do my mommy. Please.